Welcome now, author Steve Olsher.
Steve Olsher.
Career and reinvention expert, Steve Olsher.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
An entrepreneur, career development expert.
I am so pleased to have Steve Olsher here. He is a reinvention expert.
So the question I have for you is, what is your what?
I'm talking about discovering your what?
What is my what?
What is my what? What is your what?
My what?
What is the one thing that your soul is compelled to do?
What is your what?
If you believe, thank you. If you believe that one person has the power to change the world, I want you to say, I believe. And if you believe that you were born to do something amazing, I want you to say, I believe. And if you want to leave today's presentation with more money in your pocket, whiter teeth, and a better physique than when you first walked in that door, I want you to lower your expectations, like a lot. Because Suzanne only gave me a half hour here, but I really appreciate that. So thank you for that, Suzanne. Anybody want to know what the true secret of life is? The true secret of life. Here's what it is. It took me a long time to figure this out, but I got it. It's all about figuring out and discovering and sharing and monetizing something that you absolutely love to do, something that you're good at, and something that you can get paid extraordinarily well for. Would you agree? Absolutely. But this is a lot like a tripod, which is why for a lot of people it doesn't work. Because what happens when you take out one leg of a tripod? It falls over, right? Because you can have something that you love to do and something that you're good at, but if nobody pays you for it, you go broke. So that doesn't work. Or you could have something that you are good at and something that someone pays you to do it, but you got no love for it. I mean, you probably got one foot out the door, right? Like you could be the world's best filer. Like they could give you a stack of files, yay tall, and you can file those in Dewey Decimal System alphabetical order in like no time flat because you've been doing it for 20 years. Doesn't mean that's what you're compelled to do. It simply means that you've acquired skill. And there is a big difference between acquiring skill and doing something and looking at that as your reason for being versus understanding what the true secret of life is, which is finding something that meets all three criteria and being able to answer this question, which is, what is your what? What is that one thing that you are absolutely compelled to do? And it's more than just, your passion. A lot of people talk about, do what you love and the money will follow. We're in the presence of Suzanne, so I'll tell you the truth here. That's bullshit. Really, it is. Because there's more to the equation. The reason why the aptitude tests and some of the books and all kind of leave you high and dry is because the other parts of the equation here are equally important. You need to understand, of course, what your gifts are. And your gifts are a part of your DNA. They're in your blueprint. There is nothing you can do about it. You could fight it, but it's always going to be there. But then the question is, how are you going to share your gifts with the world? What is the vehicle that you are going to use to share those gifts? But then there's more to the equation. And the final piece is about the people and the people that you are most compelled to serve. Now, you may be fortunate enough to already know what your gifts are, or perhaps you already know what the vehicle is that you want to use to share your gifts with the world. Or maybe you even know the people that you're most compelled to serve. But most people will go through life without ever answering one of these questions and being able to solve one part of this equation, let alone answer all three questions and be able to finish this equation and answer the question of, what is your what? And as Suzanne said, I've done a lot of things in my life. Started out in the catalog business, .com, real estate. You name it, I've done it. I even sold speakers out of the back of a van. That old thing, we found a couple of speakers, and even did that. But the reality is that I had a huge wake-up call going on about 5 years now. Is it okay if I share that wake-up call with you? Thank you.
Man, my life has often felt like an 18-wheeler going downhill through the mountains without any brakes. I've created, closed, and currently operate multiple businesses. I've been on the brink of foreclosure not once, but twice. So by 2008, life was going really well. Business was great. Kids were getting so big. The wife and I had just celebrated 11 plus years. And then I got the call. And it was my mom. She told me that my stepfather, who had raised me since I was 10, lay dying. I went there immediately. The illness that had consumed his body for years had finally taken its toll. And as I held his hand, I had a profound vision that really shook me to my core. A vision of my own funeral. And as I lay in the casket, I could hear the words being spoken graveside. Here lies Steve Olsher. He dedicated his life to chasing the almighty dollar. And that's all that was said. And I honestly feel like my stepfather spoke to me through that physical connection. Holding his hand, he was saying to me, this is your inevitable fate if you do not change course. And he was imploring me to do something about it. And I immediately began to reinvent my life. I had to rid myself of the anchors that were dragging me down, both the people and the activities. And more importantly, I really had to honor who I inherently am. You see, I believe that we each have one very specific, powerful gift to share. And I call that gift your what. So the question I have for you is, what is your what?
What is my what?
What is my what? What is your what?
What is my what?
What is your what?
What is the one thing that your soul is compelled to do?
The one thing you were meant to do.
And once you can answer that question, I promise you, everything else will fall into place. And once you begin pursuing your what with reckless abandon, it's amazing what happens. Things that used to bother you will carry a lot less weight. You'll be fired up to jump out of bed every morning, and there just won't be enough hours in the day to accomplish your objectives. There's really only two types of people. Those who meander through life and never really get to where they were predestined to go, and those who choose to live their passion. And choosing to live a life filled with passion is your key to shifting from being awake to being alive.
Now, we've all had moments in our lives. That was a movie that I was in called The Keeper of the Keys, which, fortunate enough to be in that with Jack Canfield and John Gray and Marcy Shimoff and a few others, so that was really an honor. But we've all had moments in our lives where we got that tap on the shoulder. And sometimes we listen to that tap, and other times we ignore it and we just move forward. You know, Al, my stepfather, was telling me that I had a choice to make. I now call that choice a yay-no moment. Fancy way of saying yes-no, but it's a fork in the road. It's that moment of truth where you can choose one of two directions. You had a yay-no moment when you chose to join Suzanne's 10K club, when you chose to become a part of what she's doing here. That was a yay-no moment. Yes, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to move forward in a direction that I think will propel me towards where I'm destined to go, or no, I'm just not ready, or this is not something that I want to do. You have a yay-no moment every single moment of every single day. The question is, who in your life would tell you that this is your yay-no moment? And what would they say to you? Al was telling me that this is your inevitable fate, where you will continue to chase those commodity-driven opportunities unless you create a legacy that will not only impact those who share this lifetime with you, but also those of lifetimes to come. I chose to honor what he was saying. What would your Al say to you? Whether it's your daughter, your son, your mother, your father, your grandfather, your mentor, Suzanne, whoever it might be. Would they say you're playing small? Would they say you're hiding? Would they say there's so much more for you to do? What would they say to you? Would they say you're not being truthful? Would they say, why have you not moved in this direction yet? That's only a question that you can answer. But once I was able to answer that question, that's when everything really took on a whole new meaning. That's when I began putting pen to paper. And I know we have a lot of authors here and people who want to write books. The first book that I wrote was called Journey to You, a step-by-step guide to becoming who you were born to be. It took me 26 months to get that book done, but dang it, I got it done. and self-published it, or I independently published it. Subsequently named Self-Help Book of the Year of 2010. There you go. Started something called the Reinvention Workshop, Reinvention Radio. Internet Profits, as Suzanne talked about, was my second book. The world's leading experts reveal how to profit online. Created Internet Profits Live because once you have your what, you need to have the how. After you discover what it is that you're compelled to do, you have to know how to share it. You have to know how to monetize it. Well, as Suzanne said, I've been online for over 20 years. My 20th year online right now. Started on CompuServe's Electronic Mall in 1993, if any of you remember CompuServe. And Internet Profits Live, we've done 2 of them now, and they've gone really, really well. And just proud to have had people like Larry Winget, who you all know, and J. Conrad Levinson, and Mike Phil-Salmon, Armin Morin, and Brendan Burchard, and many others grace the stage. My third book, What Is Your What?, which you now have a copy of, just hit #1 on Barnes & Noble. Take that, Bill O'Reilly. So, yeah. So above Bill O'Reilly, above Stephen King, #1 on Barnes & Noble. That was super cool. We'll find out soon if we make the New York Times bestseller list. But most importantly, I now have a chance to speak to people of all ages about the importance of discovering what it is that they are truly compelled to do. I've been in high schools and colleges, and I've been guests on morning shows. And I mean, this was a morning show in Milwaukee where I was a guest at one point. One of their co-hosts was out. They said, hey, Steve, why don't you come and anchor the show with us? Did that not once but twice. Reality is, though, I have walked in your shoes. Okay? Maybe not these shoes in particular, because ladies, I don't really know how you walk in these shoes. That's a whole different story. But I have sat where you have sat, where you have seen, I saw somebody on stage and thought, I could do that. Or read a book and said, this is not great, to be nice. I could write a book. I know what it's like when people look at you and they say, who are you to do this? I mean, do you know how many people said to me, who are you to write a self-help book? You can barely help yourself. How are you going to help other people? I know what it's like when people tell you you can't do something or you shouldn't do something, because when you change, when you reinvent who you are and move in a different direction, it becomes super uncomfortable for them, because they've got you pegged. They know who you are, they know how you fit into their life, and they know exactly what you should be doing. It takes guts to start from scratch. It takes guts to listen to your core and bring who you are to the surface and share that gift with the world. So the question is, who are you? As you sit here today, the Tao teaches us that knowing others is intelligence, but knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength, but mastering yourself is true power. So that's the question, which is, how are you naturally wired to excel? Because ultimately, your what has chosen you. It is not that which you have chosen. Write that down. I'm telling you, if you remember nothing else from this presentation, remember that. Your what has chosen you. It is not that which you have chosen. And you are wired to excel in a very specific way. And I'd like to share an example with you.
Told me when I was young, we are all born superstars. She rolled my hair and put my lipstick on in the glass of her boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. So hold your head up and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and you're set. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way.
you believe that she has a gift, I want you to turn to the person next to you and say, she's got a gift. Now turn to somebody else and say, you've got a gift. Yes, you do. So the question is, what is your what? And I love this quote from Phillips Brooks, and he says, the ideal life is in our blood and never will be still. Sad will be the day for any man when he becomes contented with the thoughts he is thinking and the deeds he is doing, where there is not forever beating at the doors of his soul some great desire to do something larger, which he knows he was meant and made to do. Where there is not forever beating at the doors of her soul some great desire to do something larger, which she knows she was meant and made to do. So right now, as you sit here, you have two choices. Those two choices are, you might just say, hey, I am in fact living my what? You know, maybe you've been an accountant for 20 years and you've always felt like there's got to be something more. But maybe math is your thing. Maybe you loved math in high school. Maybe you're just good with numbers. It's what you do. So if that's the case, stop fighting it. Dig in as best as you can. Do it and share that gift with the world. The other choice is you might not be anywhere near your what. You might not even be in the same country, right? I mean, it's just like way apart from what it is that you're truly compelled to do. And if that's the case, then today's the day where it all changes. Today's the day where you decide, I'm going to figure out what it is. And I'm going to pursue that with strategic abandon. Now, there's 3 reasons why most people don't discover their what. From what I have found in working with thousands of people, is that number 1, they don't grant themselves the time or permission to figure out what it is. Because we're always just moving and grooving and busy doing this, that, and the other. Never stop to really, truly figure out what it is that we're compelled to do. We just don't grant ourselves that time or the permission. Number 2, might just be in flat-out denial about what it is. I don't have the time, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the money, you know, whatever it might be. That can't be it. There's got to be something more. So we spend a lifetime in denial about what it is. Or number 3, maybe you're just not going far enough back in your life to reconnect with what your what is, because I do believe that at some point in our lives, we have all been connected to what our what is, but then we get thrown off path. Like perhaps when you were younger, you loved to paint. You just loved to paint, and you had a favorite color, and your favorite color was blue. So all of your paint was blue. Well, your mama had a favorite color, and her favorite color was white. So all of her carpet was white. Well, one day, the two met. Blue paint and white carpet, and it wasn't like this Reese's peanut butter cup moment, you know, of chocolate meets peanut butter and everybody's happy. When that blue paint hit the white carpet, you got yelled at, and you buried that aspect of yourself to the nether regions, never to be heard from by anyone, including you, ever again. But you can reclaim that proper path, starting now. So here's the equation that you'll find in the book, What is Your What? And many of you know Larry, just a dynamite guy. But this is how Larry completed the equation. And in the book, you'll find 18 case studies of people who have completed this equation, who I sat down with and discussed this, including Suzanne. Matter of fact, Suzanne's featured in, I believe, chapter 16. And we go step by the best chapter in the book. And we go through this process of identifying gifts, the vehicle, and the people. In this case, Larry said his gifts are bold, clear, confrontational communication. And if you know Larry, those are his gifts. The vehicle, various media. Now, he's farther down the path, so he can be a little vague. For you, I suggest you start with one vehicle. Then the people, adults ready for radical change who want to massively improve their lives. So important to be clear. And again, I encourage you to go through the book to look at all the different case studies so it can open your mind up to the various ideas. And then create a mantra, a guiding statement, if you will. This is for you. This isn't something you publish on your site, but this is for you so that you can decide as you move forward if the choices you're making keep you on path, again, that yay, no moment, or if it moves you in a direction that doesn't further your abilities, your efforts, your focus, etc. So, as it all comes together, to empower adults ready for radical change to massively improve their lives by leveraging bold, clear, and confrontational communication delivered via various media. So you can see how the whole thing ties together. You put this on the wall, you put this on your desk. This is your guiding statement. This will help you as you move forward in knowing that you're making the right choices. As you go through life from this point forward, the question that you have to ask yourself is your what bigger than your butt, right? Now, of course, I'm not talking about your butt, but, it's all of the excuses, everything that you put in your way. Your what always has to be bigger than your butt. And so long as it is, you will make the right choices. You will stay focused. You will stay clear. But as Zig Ziglar says, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. One of his quotes, actually John Wooden's quotes, that I so love here, and John Wooden is the former UCLA basketball coach, considered the greatest college basketball coach of all time. He said, "Failing to prepare is preparing to fail." Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And what John Wooden really understood is that his objective every year was to win the national championship, but you can't just throw that out to a bunch of teenagers and say, hey, we're going to win the national championship. It's not that simple. So what he did was he broke it down into bite-sized pieces by identifying the ultimate objective and then breaking it down to something you can start with today. In other words, he said, we want to win the national championship. In order to win the national championship, we have to win each game in the tournament. In order to get into the tournament, we have to win enough games during the regular season. In order to win the games during the regular season, we got to win all these halves, right? And in order to win each half of each game, we literally have to outplay our opponent on this play. Now, that's something a teenager can understand. If we outperform our counterpart right here, right now on this play, this will lead us towards the ultimate objective of winning the national championship. Without that, we've got no choice. We've got no chance. It's not going to happen. So the question is, what is your ultimate objective? You put that at the top of a piece of paper and you break it down into bite-sized steps that you can start with today. The problem is most people don't get to the point where they want to go because they become paralyzed by this huge ultimate objective. They don't recognize that they can break it down into bite-sized pieces that begins with something you can do today. So that's my challenge to you. Identify the ultimate objective and break it down into bite-sized pieces that you can start with today. So my question to you is, how will you feel if you don't pursue your what? If 5 years from now you're looking in the mirror and you're having this same conversation, like, I'm still here, still doing this, what's going on, right? How will you feel if you don't pursue your what? That's my question to you. I really do want you to think about that. You can play big, you can play small. It's your game. You'll get whatever results you put into it. But I do want to know what your single biggest, what have been some of these excuses, right? What have you thrown in your own way? Just out of curiosity, just throw a few things out here. They sound a lot like fear, knowledge, money, time. What sort of things have you thrown in your own way? Too busy. What else? Too tired, too comfortable. Say it again. Don't know enough, don't have the knowledge, etc. And I get all that. Believe me, I've been there. I understand that. We all have our acronyms for fear, right? You've heard a ton of them. Well, mine is forget everything about reality. Because truth is that things never go as good as you hope or as poorly as you're afraid they might. It's always going to be somewhere right in the middle. And most of the time, people don't pursue their what because of fear. But I'll tell you what I'm afraid of. I'll tell you what scares the gajibers out of me. And that is that when I meet my Creator, in whatever form that Creator might be, in my next life, that Creator says, hello, Steve. Oh, you know me by name? Cool. Steve, I gave you a gift. And because you selfishly kept that gift within, and you didn't share that gift with as many as you could, and you didn't impact the world in the way that I intended you to do, you go that way. And that way looks really unpleasant. Fire, brimstone, the whole nine. As opposed to meeting my Creator, and my Creator saying, hi, Steve. Thank you for sharing the gift that I gave to you with as many as you possibly could. Thank you for doing whatever you could to empower those that you were able to reach. And because you selflessly shared your gift with as many as you could, you go this way. And this way looks quite pleasant, with bounties of delight and angels and harps and everything else. I'm not downplaying what you're afraid of. I don't doubt that it's real for you. But I do know that it pales in comparison to what I'm afraid of. And I do know that whatever has prevented you from taking your game to that level is absolutely surmountable. So here are the next steps. The next steps are you have to gain an understanding of how you're naturally wired to excel. You have to identify your what. But understand that your what isn't something you do. Your what is who you are. You hear that? Your what isn't something you do. Your what is who you are. Create that step-by-step plan. Ultimate objective. Break it down to bite-sized pieces. And then become clear on your legacy. I know that I want to impact not only those who share this lifetime with me, but also those of generations to come. I want people to be praising my name long after I'm gone. And ultimately, you have to understand that life really does start over right now. When does life start over? Right now. When does it start over again? Right now. Absolutely.
You are good when there's nothing good in me. You are love on display for all to see. You are light when the darkness closes in. You are hope, you have covered all my sins.
Heather Dorniden of Minnesota races in front of her home crowd. Big Ten Championship 2008.
You are peace when my fear is crippling. You are true, even in my wandering.
Years of training have gotten Heather to this moment.
You're the reason that I sing. You are light.
But this race is not about training.
Death has lost its sting.
This race is not about a fall. One lap to go, she's in last place. This race is about a rise. Last place coming around the final stretch. Third place. Second place, coming to the line. Bam! Despite falling, Heather won that race. Despite injuring her knees and her face, she got up in the last lap of this race to come from behind. This is what all races are about. This is what life is all about. It doesn't matter where you start the race. It doesn't matter what happens in the middle of the race. The only thing that matters is how you finish the race. This is the beginning of your journey, right now. Les Brown said most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit. And some people don't aim at all. What I want you to do is don't just aim for the target. I want you to take aim at the center of the bullseye and live life and commandeer life like a sniper, because you have a gift to share. You have something amazing to do. You have work to get done. This is your time, and the world is waiting for you. Thank you very much.
It's like you're looking through a telescope. You see where you're gonna be. Growing, getting better. You're not the person they see.
Come on now.
Can't be mad at the things
Come
you've
on.
been through.
Turn that up a little bit. Listen to the words.
Now you're stronger than you've ever been. They can't stop your hustle.
Come on.
Your faith ain't never small. That's what brought you this far. See, you got your dreams and you got your prayers and you got your God. He gon' take you there. See, everybody has a season, and I believe this one's yours. Cause you've been working, waiting. This what you've been praying.
Listen to the words.
All right, there we go. I can turn it on. Thank you again, Steve. Thank you. Give him a hand.